Hey guys, what is up? This is JMO76. Welcome to the Gaming Nation, and today we are playing Stranded: Alien Dawn Console Edition here on the Xbox, and we are doing another beginner survival guide. One of the most important things in terms of this game is shelter. No big shock there, Stranded: Alien Dawn, and the concern is about shelter. So, to put this into perspective, when I did my last playthrough, this was originally my shelter. When I started the game, I had 4 sleeping spots basically in there, and they were lying on the ground, and that was it. What I've moved up to over time are structures like this. And so I'm going to show you a little bit in terms of how I create a structure for the early game. Okay, so in this particular structure, I haven't done a lot with it, as you can tell. I have, for the most part, left it intact as it was in the early game, and I've added on things as they've popped up. But for the most part, I've left it intact. So first things first, depending on the resources that you have around you is going to depend on what you can use for your building. And so as you can see here, we have a lot of stone. And so what I did is I originally built the base and then I built the building on top. If you prefer, you can actually create the prefab structures that are created all together. I don't recommend it for the one simple reason that it will also create the same structure for your roof, and that's going to use a lot of resources and you probably don't have them in stock. But what you do is, basically once you get your base down, and you have to obviously have unlocked construction for level 1, but once you've done that, you've got the base down, then you build the units that you want. And so one of the things that I was anticipating was that I was going to have eventually more than 4 people. Okay, and so I actually built this in mind for 5 people. I was thinking about 6, but people do like the space. They really do like to have more space rather than less. So I did make the rooms a little bit bigger. However, they're a little bit lopsided as well. And so I would put up the walls. And then boom, as soon as you put up the walls, when you can, you're going to want to get a floor down as quickly as possible, because if you don't have a floor down, people will call you cave dweller, which is a really stupid term for not having a floor, but they're going to call you cave dweller, and it's going to give you like a -6 in terms of their happiness. So you need to have the floor down right away. Every room that you create, you're going to need to have windows as well, because if they can't see out, they're going to be very unhappy, and they do need to have the light. So having the light down is really, really, really important. And then obviously you get your bed down. And as you can get more luxury items, you get a chair down if you have the materials, and you can also get electronic lights, and make sure that every room also has a vent so that airflow is occurring within each one of these spaces. You will notice I do have heaters. This is a bit more into the later game, but in terms of the most basic setup, after you create the room, you put in your vent, you put in your door, you put in your window, and you put in the most simplistic bed you can. And then once that's created, the people will be so much happier, right? If you leave them all in one room, and I originally did that, I put the beds like so, and then I built the rooms around them, they were really actually quite upset, because they really do want to have a proper bed and a proper room. I do always have one room that has a sleeping bag, and that's just in case I get another person who shows up my colony, so I have somewhere to sort of plop them down right away. But in terms of the rooms themselves, they're going to want to have the space, they're going to want to have the floor, they're going to want to have the bed, they're going to want to have light, and they're going to want to have a window. None of those things are negotiable. So when you are building your base, you have to keep that in mind. Here's part of the reason why you want a base room to be bigger, because you may get settlers who fall in love, and if they fall in love, they will want to be in the same room. Unfortunately, there's not a double bed option right now, so you will have to pop down 2 single beds, but this will make them very, 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 very happy. In terms of the rest of the base, when you build it, because this was my first building, you're going to need to have a heater, you're going to need to have something decorative, You're going to need to have a table and enough chairs for everyone. And I really, really, really recommend building as many storage racks as you possibly can within the space. So this took a little bit of time to build. I didn't build it piece by piece by piece. I built it all together. Took a little bit of time to build. I used a lot of my scrap metal, but trust me, it is so worth it, because once you get them in a room, in space, with shelter and light, they will be so happy. These are later game features with the lights, but obviously earlier on, I did have simply using things like torches. And again, this is an amazing little invention. If you get to it, the shroom torch, have as many of them as you can early game, because it gives you a ton of light. Anyways, I think that is a great place to cut it. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe and comment. I really appreciate it. It gives me an excuse to continue making videos. Until next time, everyone, have a great one. Bye-bye.